How's it going, everybody? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. You gotta get down. Welcome to office hours.
No, we're
We
already
have
off
to get down. We
we're
planned
off
an
to a
entire
weird
convention.
start already. We're off to a weird start already.
Hi, I'm Marcos. You might not recognize me. My hair is different.
Yes, he's all cleaned up and everything. And
yeah,
I'm Zach.
I hate it.
Hello.
We're here to talk to you guys about TwitchCon because for some reason I feel like people on this site might want to know about that event.
Maybe.
I'm not sure why. It was a really random thing that we decided to talk about today.
Yeah, it's super random. It's not like it's happening anytime soon.
Yeah, or like anywhere near us.
Or anywhere near us, yeah. We're going to be very far away from it. But seriously, we're super excited to kick off TwitchCon. It's literally in our hometown. I think we've talked about this like millions of times throughout the year, so it's finally happening next week. And yeah, well, today we'll be basically diving into it and talking about it and maybe giving some advice on how to prepare for TwitchCon and
how to not die.
How to not die, do's and don'ts. We'll probably go through a couple of do's and don'ts.
I proposed the idea of this stream just being 2 hours of me and Zach saying hand sanitizer.
Yes.
Just
bring hand sanitizer.
Yeah, different inflections. Just bring hand sanitizer.
Yeah. You know, like, I think, I'm not sure if they're going to be giving it away, but I know someone at TwitchCon, some booth, some exhibitor, maybe even Twitch, might be giving away fanny packs. Take a fanny pack and load it up with hand sanitizer. No one's going to judge you. Everyone does it nowadays. Just do it.
It's a good... Maybe you weren't going to die at TwitchCon, but you might die after TwitchCon. So
yeah.
Just make sure.
Just be careful. That will prevent you from getting sick and lots of, I don't know, orange juice, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. First topic of the day. TwitchCon prep. What's going on? We got the site pulled up right now, and we're just looking at it. We got the schedule open. I think I'm going to drop it in chat for everybody to look at.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen this, and you guys are, oh my gosh, I'm not even logged in.
Thank you so much for the raid, Rose. We appreciate it.
Oh, great. Two-factor. Are you logged into your Twitch account right now?
Yes.
Can you drop this in?
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Here's the TwitchCon FAQ. We're going to be going over it. There's some stuff in here you might want to know. There. I'm not a mod, so I can't post links.
Oh boy.
It's great.
Let's change that. Let's get him modded so he can drop
It's
links.
like, you can't mod me because you aren't logged in.
There we go. Oh wait.
Nope, Pims can't do it either.
Great.
This is a lawless
yeah,
zone.
well, maybe at some point we will be able to provide the link to the TwitchCon FAQ.
Okay.
Oh, look, there you go.
There we go. There we go. My message was not sent because it was identical to the previous one I sent less than 30 seconds ago.
Oh, boy. Thanks a lot, OPG bot.
Yeah. So.
We got this nailed down.
We got this. How about I just Adri, can you do that thing? Here's the page. You do that, please. But yeah, we are looking at, we're going to go over the TwitchCon FAQs. There's some things you should know before going into to TwitchCon. The primary one is that like backpacks aren't allowed. This was kind of a thing they were doing last year, but I believe they're going to be more strict about it this year. So it's important to know if you're going and you have a lot of stuff you want to bring with you. They are not going to allow any bags that are over a maximum size of 12-inch width and 15-inch height, 6-inch diameter. Backpacks cannot go in under any circumstances, even if they meet those requirements, I believe.
Unless that was strange too, especially because they give like away those Twitch branded backpacks.
That's the other thing, because all of the promotional stuff that they've had before, all of the like partner backpacks, those are not going to fit this. So if you're a partner and you've gotten one of those bags at a previous TwitchCon and you're bringing all your stuff in it, don't. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go all the way back to the hotel, and that'll be annoying.
You'll have a bad time. Yeah.
They had a place to store your stuff at San Jose TwitchCon, but it was like under a tent. They had like a tent and some guy just watching your stuff, and I don't know if that's something you want to do.
Yeah, that sounds like a little sketchy, but
you can buy a clear backpack. Those are allowed. I believe it says it explicitly in here. So that can be nice if you have a lot of stuff that you want to bring with you. So
It does say it has a clear bag, but does it say clear backpack?
I don't think it specifies actually.
I think that's
Or
like the
clear bag.
important thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, so like I would.
It's possible if it's a backpack, it's still not going to work.
I probably wouldn't, just overall, I probably would recommend to just not bring a backpack because you don't want to have to like lug things back to where you came from and leave your backpack somewhere. But yes, they do make clear backpacks.
Yeah,
they really do.
they're for like if you're traveling, you're going anywhere that has security. They love clear backpacks. It makes things a lot easier for them to check.
Yes, but definitely. It sounds like looking at the FAQ, Pim's just linked it in chat. If you guys want to check it out and you're planning on going, highly recommend you read that. It looks like don't bring backpacks. Bring some sort of shoulder bag or something. I'm not sure if it'll make it through, but if you guys have the time, there's a brand that I'm just going to plug right away called Citizen. They make really comfy messenger bags that are like, they're not really backpacks, but they're fitted to not hurt you, basically. And those could be really useful too. I know they're real cozy, so consider getting one of those for yourselves.
That's the main thing, because I know that threw a lot of people off last year. You can pick up your badge ahead of time. But like, can I bring a backpack through? You can pick up your badge ahead of time on Thursday. Badge pickup is open on Thursday from noon to 6. If you're getting into town early, I would go ahead and do that. San Diego's amazing. We got a great convention center, so hopefully the line isn't going to take 20 years like it did last year. However, it's still good to just do it the day before anyway. You can get right in line to get into the convention center the morning of. You don't need to worry about like splitting off from your friends because they all got their badges and you didn't. And whatnot. So that's a good thing for this. And any convention, most cons let you pick up your badge the day before the con actually starts.
Definitely. Oh, hey, Edric.
Yep.
How's it going?
This is like the first time I've wished I've had a fanny pack.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I think, the San Diego Convention Center is huge. It hosts Comic-Con, and you're able to just get through the lines fairly quickly. Hopefully that's the case with this convention. Hopefully there's enough staff to be able to, get things moving quickly. I know for sure there's a good amount of space. If you checked out San Jose TwitchCon, that was definitely a cluster because of the way the convention was.
It's so tiny.
Basically, you had to get your partner badges a floor below ground level where the actual convention was, and then you had to loop around a hotel with people protesting and
I was staying at that hotel. It was great. We it was the couple of days before we went, and I saw Twitch sent out some letter about the strike happening, and I just texted the guy I was splitting a hotel room with, and I was like, what hotel are we staying at again? Oh, that's ours. Great.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too great.
No, yeah, they didn't let you cancel your reservation because nothing's wrong. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I definitely remember. I think that's where we had our secret OPG suite last year. And I definitely remember being in that suite and just hearing constant yelling and constant protesting, and that did not.
As far as I know, that's not happening this year.
Good,
I
good.
think
That's very good.
Haven't heard anything about protests, so that's good. But yeah, that's a big thing for TwitchCon prep. Also, just make sure you have all of your stuff in order before you leave. You make sure you got your hand sanitizer. Make sure you got your business cards. Make sure you've got your Nintendo 3DS so you can street pass people. People still do that, right? So yeah, no, that was great, and it's great because you didn't have an option to not stay there because they wouldn't let you refund your room. I'll bring my Switch now to play. That's an important part, I would say, of a survival kit for TwitchCon, especially if you're going to wait in line for merch, because that can be a really long line. So I've definitely just hung out and played my Switch for that whole line, which was pretty great. So,
also, hello Geki, Gemini, Rose of Battle, and Draconius. I know we didn't probably say welcome you guys all, but hey, it looks like you guys all got those TwitchCon 2019 badges. So
I'm still upset that the 2018 badge looks way cooler. 17 and 18 had really nice looking badges, and this was just a square. is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I think like it's just the badge looks weird, you know,
It's
like
weird.
because like you see the TwitchCon Europe badge, it's like
It's
the
the
exact same thing.
It's just inverted.
You get the
17's the
17
best
one.
yeah.
That's the purple one.
Yeah.
It's like okay, like I get the whole like the orange. They went to the orange for TwitchCon Europe, right?
No,
Or was
orange
that 18?
was
2018? Yeah. Then 2019.
That badge, yes, that badge is the best.
That is the best.
I would
one.
rather wear that one, but then people won't know that I'm gonna be at TwitchCon. So, you know, it's annoying.
Those colors, so solid.
Yeah, they're really good though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so make sure that you've got all of your stuff together in a bag that is of size, so you can bring it in. But once you're at TwitchCon, you kind of want to think about what you're going to be doing while you're there. Give yourself a game plan. You can just kind of hang out at the convention center and drift. I've done that at conventions before. But depending on why you're there, you may want to make a plan. If you're there to like help grow your channel, there are a lot of really nice panels at TwitchCon that go over different aspects of running your channel and the different like special circumstances different channels may run into. So it's worth going through there. If you go to the TwitchCon website and you log in using your Twitch account, you can actually favorite different panels, so you can at a glance see like, oh, this is everything that I'm interested in today. And that's great. The notebook I use here for work, I got at one of those panels. They just had a bunch of like training camp panels, and whenever you went in, they would just have notebooks on all the desks. And so I like it. It's a nice notebook.
Free stuff.
Planning out your panels is good. If you know that there are streamers that you want to meet, whether you're a streamer in the same category and you've been rated by them and you just know each other and you want to like meet up in real life, or if it's just somebody that you want to see, it can be good to just be on the lookout for them. And also like, what parties are you going to be attending? Because there's a million.
Yes.
It's like Persona 5. You're going to have to manage your time. You're probably not going to be able to do everything that's available to you on any given day, so decide what you got to prioritize.
Definitely take a lot of time, or take some time. If you don't have a lot of time, take some time to plan out your entire TwitchCon schedule, especially if you're going to be there for work. A lot of folks who are streaming right now, they want to go there to kind of figure out who can they work with. They might be looking to potentially just network and meet with other companies that they really like. Let's say, I don't know, let's say you're a person that likes to stream Bandai Namco games, right? Like Dragon Ball FighterZ, and you really want to meet a contact at Bandai Namco, and they just so happen to be at the con. Try and find a way to set up a meeting there. If not, try and go, if you don't know anyone to really talk to or email beforehand, definitely go ahead and stop by the booth. Bring a business card with you. Bring an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is basically a 2-minute pitch of yourself, kind of presenting yourself and kind of like giving them a reason to talk to you, really. So definitely bring that with you and just be like, hey, I really wanted to work with you guys. I create a lot of Bandai Namco. This is just an example, by the way, but I create a lot of Bandai Namco content and would definitely like to work with you guys in the future. And it just kind of opens up that conversation. You hand off cards, and hopefully, it leads to, a bigger conversation, But that's definitely how relationships start. I think having a face-to-face with someone at a company that you really want to get in touch with is a huge deal, because it kind of like, associates a face to a name, and, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I think we're kind of all jumping all over the place because we're still on TwitchCon prep, and we just kind of talked about networking.
Yeah, but it's the thing is, like, preparing for networking is definitely something you got to do.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you have that at the ready. Do we want to go more into networking? I feel like we've covered a lot of the stuff that we want to talk about. Also, if any of you guys have questions about TwitchCon, like if you've never been, if this is your first TwitchCon, we have a lot of people in the office who it's the first TwitchCon that they've ever been to. In my opinion, a good elevator pitch should at least be 30 seconds max, especially at an event like TwitchCon where everybody is getting bombarded with people trying to get their attention. What is TwitchCon? That's a good question. I don't even...
It's TwitchCon.
Who is TwitchCon? I've never been to TwitchCon.
But yeah, I definitely agree with what Gemini has to say. A good elevator pitch should be 30 seconds. I think For me, I think 30 seconds is a good minimum. And a good maximum depending on the situation. If you literally see someone that's like getting bombarded by constant people, you do want to keep it short and simple. But a good amount, a lot of times, like people might have a couple minutes to actually talk to you, 1 or 2 minutes or something, and they'll be able to hear you out because I don't think anyone is super rude to the point where they'll turn you away right away unless they're insanely busy. But then you can always find someone else to talk to as well, or try and like coordinate and like be like, hey, can I come back at a later time? Are you too busy? And figure out what we can do from there.
It's also good to think about who you're giving the elevator pitch to. I've been to TwitchCon where there have been people just passing out cards and immediately going into their elevator pitch and then leaving, and that's the extent of the interaction that I've had with them. But when it comes to talking about your channel and passing out business cards, this is, again, we're kind of getting more into networking, but I think that's like a big part of what you're going to do at TwitchCon is hang out with people. Either you're going to be on the show floor and going around to the different booths and connecting with brands, or you're going to be seeing other streamers that you might want to work with in the future. Networking is a huge part of why you're going to be there. And so it's, my brain just stalled for a second. It's important to like know who you're saying these things to. It's very weird if you just pop up out of nowhere, get like info dump what your channel is about to somebody, give them a card, and then leave. Like the ones who just hand you the card and bounce, it's like, okay, thanks. Yeah. So I don't really give out my card too often. Like I've left a good amount on those like tables that just are filled with cards, even though I know like that's generally not how you get viewers, but it's more so I never give them out personally enough. Because when I give out my cards, it's always after I've just been talking with somebody for almost unrelated reasons. It's somebody, if I was waiting in line and we were just talking about games that we like or like who we've been watching, or we realize we're both streamers and we're talking about our channel, I don't lead with this is my card. It's usually like when we're splitting up, I liked this person, we had a good rapport, I feel like they would be a good part of my community, and if I feel like if they had the chance they would come and hang out at my channel, then I give them a card. But it's very weird if you want to make sure that you're not, you don't want to come off as somebody who's simply there to try and get exposure and nothing else. You want to make that connection. It's not, getting your name out there is like half the work. You need to make sure that it sticks and that they remember who you are and they want to come back and hang out with you,
Yeah. Gemini also brings up a good point. He says they say that they've experienced way too many content creators who drone on and on at him or them and don't have a nice, snappy, well-rehearsed pitch. So definitely part of TwitchCon prep is, especially if you intend on going out and talking to people, definitely have a short elevator pitch rehearsed. One of the some of the main components that you got to have in your elevator pitch is you got to make sure you have your name, obviously. Your channel name, basically all your socials or like whatever you go by. For example, like let's say you can go by your real name or you can go by your streamer name, moniker, whatever. You want to let them know what you do and what you can do to bring value to them and why you should matter, right? So for us, for example, we're managers and we provide a lot of business support for a lot of our clients, right? So some of the things that our clients will do, that aren't able to attend the con, they'll be like, hey, I really want to get in with, I don't know, Square Enix, right? So let's say Square Enix is at TwitchCon. One of the things I want to do for my client is I'll go up to them, I'll bring my business cards with me, make sure that I have them on me and ready to go. But I don't really have them out, just readily accessible. And then the first thing I'm going to say is like, hey, is there anyone I can talk to about, working with you guys on like the content creator side of things? And whoever you're talking to might not be the right person, but you can always ask them to point you in the right direction. Once you get to that person, you want to introduce yourself nicely. If you can, shake your hand, shake their hand, introduce yourself, be like, hey, for example, my name is Zach. I work for OPG. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
I'm Marcos. I will also work for OPG, weirdly enough.
Hi, Marcos. It's a pleasure to meet you. You work at Square Enix, right?
Yes, Square Enix.
Yes, you work at Square Enix. So one of my clients, Co-Carnage, he's actually super interested in working with you guys. He's actually one of the top content creators on Twitch and YouTube. He's got I think about 10,000 average concurrents, and he just really wanted to talk to you about what you guys had in store. Something like that was really quick, right? It took less than 30 seconds. It was very brief and straight to the point. And from there, it just continues, right? You can either get their card, they'll probably talk a little bit more about what they have coming up. I think I would say maybe the card handoff towards the end of the conversation, actually. But usually it's just, you continue the conversation with a goal. Sometimes these chats can be very long, sometimes it can be very short. Whichever way it goes, you're establishing that connection with someone, and that's, ultimately, it can ultimately help you reach your goals.
Yeah. And the other reason it's called like an elevator pitch is the idea is this pitch that you're going to get through in the amount of time you'd probably spend in an elevator with someone, is because like you don't know necessarily when you're going to meet that person that you want to make a connection with. There's a lot of different exhibitors listed on the TwitchCon website, but not everybody who's going to be at TwitchCon has a booth or is going to be there in an official capacity. There are a lot of people from different companies who will be there, who maybe you will find just in your travels throughout the day.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's not, you aren't necessarily gonna, be in an environment to like sit them down and have an actual meeting. So that's why you want to make sure it's all nice and concise.
Also, obviously this is a part of prep always goes into a little bit of this networking talk, but we want to make sure you're also prepared and you have the understanding of like do's and don'ts. But a little bit about networking. Make sure you're also prepared to understand the types of settings that you're going to be in. You might be at the convention floor where obviously like a lot of these companies are going to be busy working. But if you're anywhere outside the convention floor, sometimes you need it's best to kind of like keep things a little bit more casual because people are done with the day. Like they're done working at the con, they're done talking to hundreds of people about work, and sometimes folks just want to unwind. I'm not saying you can't still network with them, but definitely ease up a little bit, I'd say.
Yeah. That's another reason I'd like avoid the whole immediately, especially if it's talking. We're talking mostly about networking with possible like sponsors and companies you want to work with.
Right.
But the networking that I'm most used to is just hanging out with people who I think might want to watch the channel in the future. And it's important not to dive into watch my channel first, which is kind of where I was going with that. You do want to. There's a big benefit to keeping it a lot more casual, especially if what you're trying to gain is more viewership rather than actual business deals.
Definitely.
If you're trying to advertise your channel as some place that people can come and chill and hang out, but you're making them feel stressed like they're being advertised to immediately.
Yeah, that can get a little awkward.
That's not going to work.
But yeah, I think one of the things that we did pull up regarding TwitchCon prep was the sponsors and exhibitors that are going to be there. At this time, I'm not sure if any of you guys know where I can find it, but it doesn't look like there's a map right now for TwitchCon and where to find things. To me, that makes me kind of sad because I really like maps and I want to know where I can find like certain booths that I want to visit, but it looks like we might have to wing it for now. But on the website, you can definitely get a list of all the exhibitors. They might have maps on site. That's what I'm thinking. Like if there's no maps online right now, they might have it on site when there's like a better understanding of where everything's at. There's definitely a huge list of exhibitors that are going to be there. So definitely take a look through that. I'm going to try and post it. I'm not sure if I can though.
I thought you still are logged in because you need the two-factor.
Yeah,
remember?
two-factor, right?
Yep.
Do I need to use an app? Oh wait, I'll just two-factor it. Why not?
Maps will either be in Guide at the Con or in the TwitchCon Events app again. Yeah. I feel like I've used the TwitchCon Events app, but I don't remember using it. But like I feel like I had to have at some point had it on my phone.
Yeah. Cool. Barry says maps will be at. Yeah, I think you mentioned that already, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the app. I'm not sure if the app is like. Is that going to be available again this year? I honestly never. I didn't hear anything
about it. But like, and like usually that's something they advertise in like the TwitchCon's coming up in like a week.
Yeah.
Be sure to download the TwitchCon app and plan out your stuff in that. And they haven't. Yeah.
They haven't said anything.
They haven't said yet. So I know that it wasn't like a huge hit with people. So.
Yeah. But man, at the same time, that was pretty useful for some things, Definitely. But yeah, definitely when you get into the con, grab a map, do your thing.
Definitely. Yeah. It's also like important to think about, like, what games do you want to see? This is partially a gaming convention. There are a lot of people who are bringing demos of games that, you know, maybe you're going to be able to take a look at before they're out, or maybe they're already out and they're just offering, you know, goodies for that game. I went to the Magic booth last year and they were giving away like Magic packs, a USB full of like assets for your channel if you wanted it, and like a code for like a deck and a bunch of packs, which was cool. It's also a good place to just find new games, especially like the indie corner. I don't know if they're gonna have it this year, but they've had it like almost every year, where they have a space for just indies to show off stuff, and that can always be really fun because there's a bunch of like little hidden gems that, you know, maybe you haven't heard of before. I'd never heard of Splitgate before last TwitchCon, and then I feel like our clients were working with them so much. So.
Yeah, definitely. Also, like, you know, aside from gaming too, TwitchCon, a lot of the exhibitors there are just going to be like sponsors and, you know, non-endemic companies. A lot of these exhibitors are also going to be geared towards like providing a product or something that, you know, can help streamers that you probably might have never heard of, right? Like, a lot of folks have heard about, you know, what, like Stream Elements and what's the other one? Streamlabs and stuff like that. I'm sure there's plenty of other developers and other companies that you might want to look into that might bring some value to your stream, or other things among that too. Like, there might be an extension that you've never heard of that you really like. A lot of that will be showcased at TwitchCon, so definitely walk the floor, check out what, you know, catches your eye. Very booze at Stream Elements and Streamlabs. But yeah, Draconius mentions Elgato. Right there and then, if you don't own Elgato products right now, or, you know, maybe you haven't really considered dropping all the money to use an Elgato product, and you're at TwitchCon, might as well check it out, right? See if it's actually worth picking up, you know.
They usually have some kind of deal going during TwitchCon too. I remember for the Stream Deck, there was like a certain percentage off. You didn't buy it at the convention. There's like a code that they were having that you could use through Best Buy or something last year. So yeah, there might be a sale on. So it also can be a good way to grab that way. Yeah. Also, no shipping. So
no shipping. You just gotta take it on the plane with you.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you have to get on the plane anyway.
A lot of folks end up shipping things anyways, right?
I usually only go like on vacation with like a single bag, and I just cram everything into it. So
travel light.
Yep. But for some people that's important, you know. Like, I feel like we have access to a lot of Elgato stuff just in like Best Buy and Fry's. I've seen them here, but not everybody necessarily lives in a city that's big enough to have those kind of specialty stores.
I do know there's that one product that was very hyped during TwitchCon 2018, and that was the Go XLR, the Halcyon Go XLR mixer thing. I don't know too much about it. I just know that people were hyped about it, and that it makes like you know, mixing for streaming a lot easier, and you can do random cool stuff with it. That's the most of what I know about it, but it seems like they sold out and a lot of people just really want to check it out. So they might be exhibiting at TwitchCon. I wouldn't doubt it if they did. So if you ever want to check that out, I'm sure that's going to be there as well.
This Elgato green screen will fit great in my carry-on.
But like, do you need... I'm not going to go into it.
My brother got me that for Christmas. He doesn't live in town, so he mailed it to us. And I had no idea that it was for me. Like, I just came home one day, I saw this really long package on the porch, and I thought Mom had ordered a rug or something. So I just like took it inside, didn't look at who it was for. Like a week later, my brother asks me how I liked my Christmas present, and I'm like, I don't think we ever got it. And he's like, it's a giant package. How did you not get it? So, a much smaller device that fits streamer use can use better than other professional equipment in the audio space. It's done well. Cool. Yeah, I've never really used like external audio mixer stuff, but at the same time, I also never used a Stream Deck because I was like, I'm never gonna need a Stream Deck. I don't need one. My setup's not that complicated. And then I got a Stream Deck, and I'm like, I love it. I never want to go back. This is amazing.
It's just the buttons, you know? Like, look, we have one right here, and you can push all types of buttons.
Yes, I still don't know what the sushi button does.
Why don't you push it and find out?
I don't know. I pushed it.
Did it just make it smaller?
Yeah, it just when the button
There's a button.
The graphic on the button
our
got
stream.
smaller.
Oh no!
Now there's a warning sign.
We shouldn't have pushed it.
And we've ruined everything. So push the button.
Barry says the Stream Deck is great. I have so many keyboard macros for my simulator games. See, like I never even thought of using the Stream Deck for gaming, but like that's actually a pretty cool idea. Like if you can use it for like, I'm not sure if it would work, but if you could use it for something like WoW, where my screen is literally covered in macros, or people buy MMO mice just to like bind things to like those like huge numbers on your mouse. Like I don't really like the size of those things, but
I have
cool.
MMO. I use MMO mice, even though I don't play MMOs. I just like having more keys on the side of my thing. Like I play Overwatch with it, and I just have all my skills mapped to the mouse itself, and I just like it. No, for me, I love that there's the button that automatically puts a marker down for you to take highlights later, because I'm way too lazy to search through my entire stream and like find stuff, and just the fact that it's just a button to click is so
things.
great.
Yeah.
Also, if I'm doing any kind of D&D show, I can have the like RP view where everybody's big webcam view, and then I can push a button and suddenly it pulls out, and then we have the battle map, and it's just nice because it helps me flip through those views. Back when I was doing Pokemon stuff more regularly before my capture card kind of got on the fritz, it's nice because I could switch between a view with the bottom screen small and the top screen big, and then a view with the bottom screen big and the top screen small. So I can't seem to get used to using the number pad on my Razer Naga. I've gotten super used to using it.
But yeah, to kind of go back on topic about navigating TwitchCon, I think it's fair that we can also talk about what's outside of TwitchCon, right? Thankfully, man, this episode is also just about bragging about San Diego and how awesome we are.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Why don't you tell us about San Diego and why TwitchCon is in such a strategic place that's great for this convention?
It's America's finest city.
Yeah.
Downtown has a lot of really nice restaurants. I found out apparently people didn't like the one ramen place I suggested for the TwitchCon vlog. Apparently people don't like Underbelly. I like Underbelly a lot. Little Italy's really nice. And if you want Italian food, it's called Little Italy.
Yes.
It's great. But even like going outside of downtown, Balboa Park is amazing. They have a lot of amazing museums, which all cost money, except for one, the one that Pim's worked at. Underbelly's good. Yay, Gemini knows it. So Balboa Park is beautiful. If you just want to go out and do stuff that isn't, TwitchCon related, if you're hanging out with friends and the con's done, Balboa Park's a great place to hang out. The zoo is great if you have a day, 0 or a day 4 that you're still in town for. The zoo's a great place to kind of hang out at. And of course, we have all the beaches.
Yes.
The beaches are amazing.
The beaches are beautiful here, almost like year-round, depending on the weather.
I worry about talking about the beaches too loudly, otherwise Tyler's going to burst in through the wall and start telling us everything about all the beaches.
Gemini says the whole Gaslamp Quarter is great, and with Little Italy right along the metro line, it's easy to get without lots of hassle or Uber.
Yep.
Very true, yes. We have like the great thing is, like, let's say if you do need to use Uber or like a rideshare program, it's not going to be terrible. Obviously there's going to be like some sort of peak pricing, I'm sure. Like, like at like 2 p.m. or like 1 p.m., maybe even noon during the con. But at the same time, like everything is relatively close together. Little Italy is a little bit further, like inwards, I'd say, or like the airport. Is that west? Is that north?
It's
north.
Literally it's directly east of the airport.
East of the airport.
The airplanes fly directly over Little Italy. If you had a ladder, you could probably touch them.
Right. So like it's not super close to the convention, but it's not far enough where it just kind of like takes up a whole lot of your time. A quick Uber ride or a quick metro line, taking the metro or some sort of transportation will just help you get there a lot easier. Speaking
of the metro or the trolley, if you're asking people like in San Diego, most people call it the trolley. It's nice because it's a single price. You pay $5. You can ride it as much as you want for a day. I recently got back from a trip to DC. And like the DC Metro and the San Francisco Metro throw me off because it's pay per how far you go, which I get it, but But if you're taking the trolley in and you have a hotel that isn't in downtown, Qualcomm Stadium or SDCCU Stadium or Snapdragon Stadium, whatever it's called, the football stadium that we have, it's nice because it has a trolley stop and it is nothing but a giant parking lot. So if you want to take the trolley in, you can go to the stadium, get on there, and take it all the way to the convention center. And the convention center has 3 stops because it's a really long convention center. But that can be really nice. I also like Linda Vista Station. It's like a couple stops down from from Qualcomm.
Yep.
It has a smaller parking lot, but it's also like a smaller station that barely anybody goes to, but it's a little closer.
Yeah, people forget about that one.
I like it a lot. I would not suggest getting on the trolley at Old Town Station because parking for Old Town is going to fill up really fast. So.
Draconius mentions also if you like free parking and probably going to be hanging out closer to the convention, you could also park at any hotel with a bar, buy a drink or appetizer, and you can get validated parking.
That is, I've never actually considered that. That is a very good point.
Definitely do that too. And plus, you get to drink or eat, and those are both great things. But yeah, plenty of things to do outside the convention. I think we will be releasing a blog post pretty soon about some other, about like things outside of the general area, a little bit like, let's say, Balboa Park, the San Diego Zoo, like Marcos mentioned, some of the beaches.
I think that's going live today, right?
Yeah, it should be coming out today, hopefully. Maybe, possibly.
If only the person writing it was in chat right now to clarify.
He's totally here. He's totally here. We're talking about you, Oliver. I'm calling you out right now. But to be fair, I contributed to it, and I didn't give him the things until like literally like 10 minutes ago. So
literally being written.
Yeah, it's probably part of my fault why this isn't done. So yeah. But yeah, we'll be releasing a blog post. If you guys really just want to hang out outside the general area, and you feel like you want, or maybe like you have a group of friends that you want to go hang out someplace different that's not crowded with everyone, and you don't want to be bothered, we'll share some spots with you that a lot of us local San Diegans like to go to, and yeah, check those places out because they're awesome. It'll make your trip to TwitchCon worth it.
I feel like most everybody else here probably has more places than I do because the outside is evil and I do not like going there. San Diego's a great city, but my room is better.
I mean, I agree with you. Like,
yeah.
I do like my room because it's nice.
Do I count as a local yet? I mean, you worked at Balboa Park. I feel like that's local enough.
Pims, I think like you're a Southern Californian, right? Yeah, sure, you're local. Whatever.
Yeah. Somebody in the know hit me up with those ramen and Thai restaurant recommendations. Convoy Street is a street in San Diego that has literally every type of Asian cuisine in existence.
Yes. So Gemini, actually, it's funny you mentioned ramen because part of my blog post is writing about what I think is the best ramen in San Diego, and it's this little hole-in-the-wall ramen shop that gets really packed but moves fairly quick. It's called Menya Ultra, and it's on Claremont Mesa Boulevard, which is, I think, that's probably what, like 20, 30 minutes away from the con. It's fairly out there, but you know, if you had the time, definitely check that place out because the ramen's amazing. I'm posting a picture in the blog post, so check that out.
All of our favorite Korean barbecue places are in that area.
Yep. So yeah, Claremont's a little bit further away. If you feel like you don't mind going further away, I know when I went to San Jose, everything really did feel far away. Like, it was super weird navigating San Jose. Fearless likes Taiguchi. I also like Taiguchi for Korean barbecue. It's definitely a great place to accommodate big groups. It's really fun too. They have drinks, they have soju,
La Jolla
open
has
bar.
some good places as well. Yep.
Yeah, La Jolla has amazing places. If you want to get a super fancy dinner, definitely check out George's at the Cove, California Modern. Amazing place. But yeah, tons of places in San Diego to go to. We'll be writing about it, and
I also
hang tight.
I also feel like you have to get In-N-Out while you're in California if you've never had In-N-Out before. I agree with people who say that it doesn't always live up to the hype. However, you need to be able to say that you've had it. So if you're from out of the state, go find yourself an In-N-Out. It's very important.
So, my advice is if you're gonna have In-N-Out, set your expectations really low. It is something that people overrate, and I will agree with that. But to be honest, from my perspective, In-N-Out is great for the price. It's a cheap
Yeah.
burger, and it's good for a cheap burger.
Yeah, for a fast food burger, it's great. People will say that Five Guys is better, and I agree, but Five Guys is more expensive and takes longer.
And it is not fast food.
Yeah.
Same thing with Shake Shack. You cannot compare Shake Shack to In-N-Out because a Shake Shack is literally like a restaurant that you go into and order a delicious burger.
Be sure to get your
It's
burger.
a casual diner.
Be sure to get your burger animal style.
Mm-hmm.
Animal style burgers are the best. It's not on the menu. You just got to tell them get it animal style.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I order the Flying Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman is my favorite thing on the In-N-Out menu. It is literally 2 patties and a piece of cheese in between. That's it. No bread, no lettuce, nothing. Just 2 pieces of meat and cheese, like a little flying saucer made out of beef. It's really good.
If anyone hears the background noise, blame Jamar. I blame Jamar for everything.
Yes, I do too.
Same. You want to move back to networking?
Yeah,
Seems
sure.
to be our last topic that we got to deal with.
So networking is our last topic, and it's something that we can probably go into a little detail about it. I think we'll end up backtracking again because that's just how office hours is.
All of these things are like interlinked.
Yeah, they are.
Like, so.
But that's totally fine. Also, hi Geki, how are you doing?
Blame Devin Day.
Yeah, where's Devin at?
I don't know.
He's coming. He's coming next week. We're gonna have people from outside the OPG office.
I'm gonna be able to play Commander with him. It'll be great.
We have people from OPG United Kingdom coming in from across the pond to visit us on this monumentous weekend. It's going to be great.
Gonna be dead from jet lag for the entire weekend.
Yes.
But they'll be here.
Mm-hmm. Really excited to see our folks from the UK branch. It's going to be great. How are you doing, Barry? You're like the only person.
Barry
Geki.
and his extensive
Barry
team.
and Geki. Yeah.
Barry's the head of OPG UK.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, going back to networking. Does anybody have any questions about, different practices? Like, if you aren't quite sure exactly how you would want to network with people, if you've never done it before, or if you're just not that social of a person, you don't know the best way to like initiate a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think really when it comes to networking, on my first convention was TwitchCon Long Beach. I think that was 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that seems like such a long time ago. Really had a hard time trying to figure out how to talk to people because I didn't know anyone, and I just was like, oh dang, I have to actually go out and talk to people. I have to approach them because it's part of my job. One of the things that helped me do that was just literally sucking it up, telling myself to shut up, and going up to people and saying, hi, my name's Zach, and that just kind of starts everything off.
Yeah, no, Jamar's staring
at us right now. He's making me feel real uncomfortable.
Bye, Jamar. No, yeah, just like forcing yourself to go and talk to somebody. It usually gets like the worst part about being antisocial for me, I feel, is the lead up. Or like I know I'm not the most antisocial person in the world. I can talk for hours, but there are definitely those days where it's like it's awkward to go up to strangers.
Yeah, it's super awkward.
I was in drama in high school, and it's just the lead up to doing the anxiety-inducing thing is worse than actually doing it. You need to push yourself to start talking, and that's the important.
I think like Marcos brings up a really good point. One thing that I personally felt was just thinking about having to go up and talk to people really bothered me right away because I was just like, I don't know what to say. But the second I talked to the first person the first time I went up to someone at a booth, after I had that conversation, literally the next 30 minutes was just me hopping from booth to booth, talking to people and meeting people. So it became a lot more easier just because it's a way to break the ice for yourself and kind of break the anxiety that you might potentially have from talking to people. I know I do. So yeah, definitely do that. It'll help, and you know, it's okay. You're not alone. People out there have a lot of a tough time going up to strangers and talking to them, and that's totally fine. But it's something, if you feel like it's good for you and you feel like it's part of your goal, or set yourself a goal to basically network and try and figure out what you can do to help yourself and your channel if you're a streamer.
What kinds of questions do you recommend asking other people to help network? I feel like it's easy to get to know or talk about yourself, but engaging someone else at a con is much, much harder. If there's somebody who's at a booth, it can kind of help to just pay attention to what it is that they're doing. If they're giving something away, you can start by asking about what the thing they're giving away is, and segue from there into like, oh, that's cool. I've been interested in this game for a while. Like, what do you do at the company? Like, little things like that that can kind of link into who they are and what they're doing, and that just can give you a bunch of different things to springboard off of from there.
Yeah, that's honestly like a great point that Marcos brings up too. Really, like, it's very easy to talk about yourself, but you have to think like it's the same thing for the other person you're talking to as well. It's probably going to be a lot more easier for them to talk about themselves because they're probably at the booth working for a company and they're easily able to talk about what they're doing there. So the way I like to picture it is when I give my initial elevator pitch and I've kind of got that out of the way and they want to continue the conversation, I start asking them like just random questions. I'm like, hey, like, what do you do there? Like, what do you do at this company? How did you start working in the gaming industry? Like, what drew you to working here? What brings you to TwitchCon? Why are you here? Get deep with those questions, man. Just like ask them like, what kind of games do you like to play, right? Like, almost everybody at that convention likes games or plays games. So definitely ask them like, hey, do you like Twitch streamers? Like, who's your favorite Twitch streamer? Just really get into that conversation, and like from there, casual conversations just kind of build off of, you know, getting a relationship, working relationship.
And it also can point you in the direction of more people to talk to in certain situations. So like last year I went up to the Magic booth because they had a whole bunch of stuff for people they wanted to play Magic Arena. And because they were talking about like their creator program and things like that. And I was like, oh, do you guys do anything for Dungeons and Dragons? Because I've been trying to like play some D&D with my friends on stream and start a campaign. And they're like, oh, I'm not, I mostly focus on Magic the Gathering, but our D&D community creator, what's it called? Community manager is here. He's over there. He's the guy with like the rainbow hair. And you can go talk to him, and then that gives me something to springboard off of, like, hi, I was just talking to like so-and-so, and I was told that you handle the D&D division of Wizards, and I was just curious if you guys have anything going on for streamers and stuff. Something that I like doing on my channel. And you can give them like little bits to springboard off of, especially if you mention you've already talked to somebody before, like you know somebody they know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely everything Marco said is right. 100%. Another thing is, what I kind of also like to think of is you always kind of want to figure out like who you want to talk to there at the booth. And if they don't have the time to talk to you, like, don't get discouraged right then and there. Very, very often, you'll probably go up to someone, you'll have that elevator pitch ready, you have your approach ready, and then you go up to them, and then you give them your elevator pitch, and they just don't have time. Don't let that discourage you, and don't don't hurt yourself. Like, maybe if they were rude, then they were rude, but don't let that discourage you. If not, sometimes it's really just like people don't have time. Maybe all their attention is like, on the booth, and they're getting called by, their boss or something, and they have to go do something else. So everyone at the convention is going to be running around like a headless chicken. So don't be discouraged if someone doesn't have the time to talk to you. Just come back another time.
Yeah. And at the same time, also, don't be afraid to go up to somebody just because you think that they might be busy. So last year, I brought the map that my local D&D group's using for our D&D campaign, because I know that after the Dice Camera Action panel, not Jeremy Crawford, why am I drawing a blank right now? Chris Perkins. I knew Chris Perkins did signings after the panel the previous year. And so I brought that. They weren't doing signings this year, so I was like, oh, whatever. I saw Jeremy Crawford just randomly after one of the D&D panels, and I was like, oh man, he's like head of D&D. Like, do I go over there? I just went over and talked to him, and I'm like, hey, like, I love D&D. My party's been playing a campaign for years. I was wondering, would you want to sign this map? I just kind of have it with me, and he did. Like, don't be afraid of going up to somebody if you recognize somebody as like a big part of a company. Don't necessarily be afraid to go over and introduce yourself because you think that they're busy. Like, there will be times when it's very clear they actually are busy. Like, they're already in a conversation. They're, you know, working at a booth. Like, it's obvious. But if you see somebody just walking around and you think, like, oh, they're too important for me to talk to. No, you can talk to anybody. Just be courteous and respectful, and if it does turn out that maybe they are busy, that's not on you. It's just something to be, you know, aware of.
Yeah. And if you do see someone that you want to talk to, talking to another person, I think it's really important because I've actually kind of made this mistake in the past before. Try not to hover too close to them while they're talking to someone else, looking like you're anxious to talk to them. I've done this a couple times before, and I've just kind of learned to like distance myself away, because it can be pretty awkward. Because like, you know, you really want to talk to that person, you don't want to lose them, but you don't really want to like, you know, be super close. So what I actually like to do, and I think it's a viable strategy, is I will talk to someone else. I will talk to someone else that, you know, works for that same company, and I'll be like, hey. Do you know where I can find this person? Like, totally pretending that I haven't already seen them talking to someone else. And then I'll be like, hey, like, I would really like to talk to them about something. Do you think they'll have time? And then usually that person will go help you out. Let's say if they're just a booth worker, they'll be like, oh yeah, he's over there. I think he's talking to someone right now, but let me go let him know that you want to talk to him. What's your name? That's also a viable strategy because, one, you're not hovering over that person talking to them, but you can also converse with other people, and that person will probably go help fetch them when they're ready to talk.
That is a brilliant idea that I've never considered.
Yeah.
But I will probably use that in the future.
Try it out. It's worked many times, especially at big booths. Like, you can even just, you know, get to know the other people working the booth, you know, while you're doing that, that are actually available to talk. That way, you're meeting multiple people from that company working different jobs, but eventually, because you're meeting them and you're talking to them, they're going to help you get to the person you really need to talk to.
This is the first year that I'm going to be going, like, as a person from OPG. The closest thing to experience that I've had from this is like E3, and even then I didn't really have a lot of meetings with anybody from any specific companies there. So it's going to be kind of interesting. A lot of the advice that I have is going from the perspective of a streamer trying to connect with fans, potentially. So it'll be interesting.
That definitely happens, yeah. And you know, it's really hard to say it, but like, even I'm working on this for myself too. Like, try and kind of notice like body language, and like there's like certain cues that people have, you know, where they're just kind of like, they might not be wanting to talk to someone, or maybe they just kind of want to like get away from things. Usually when I see someone who's just kind of like, you know, scratching their head, or, you know, you're talking to them and they're just kind of like looking away, it seems like they're just about done and they kind of want to do something else. If that happens to you, sometimes it does feel kind of discouraging, but just like I said earlier, don't let it happen to you, and just kind of be like, oh, hey, it was great talking to you. I'm going to head out and let you go. I'll talk to you later. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, definitely pay attention to those cues, because sometimes just based on their body language, you could just assume like, hey, this person's probably doesn't have a whole lot of time, but doesn't want to be rude and excuse themselves from the conversation. Just let them go. Yeah,
definitely.
And also, the other way around too, don't be afraid to excuse yourself from a conversation if you feel like it's going too far and you have something else to do. Just take the time to be like, hey, I really gotta go. I'm super sorry. I'll catch up. And if you feel like you're gonna talk to that person later on, just be like, hey, can I get your card? Maybe we can talk another time.
And I think that also kind of is a good segue into following up. If you're talking with somebody from a company that maybe you do want to work with, and you feel like you had a good conversation with them at the convention, once the convention's done, like a day or two after, if you got that person's card, you can send them an email and just be like, hey, this is Marcos from OPG. It was really cool meeting you at TwitchCon. I think we had a really good conversation. Thanks for taking the time to have a meeting with me, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't need to be anything complicated depending on what it is you were talking about.
Yeah, just like oversimplify it if you can. I think like simplifying things makes things easier for you and them always. Because let's say if you get into a long conversation, you went into something about detail, and then you're at the end of the conversation where we're already dragging on, and you try to circle back, it's just gonna get awkward. It does happen. But yeah, just like Gemini said, like probably a good idea to stop while you're ahead, because you don't want to drag on something until it's just like, hey, okay, well, we talked for like 30 minutes on the convention floor standing up. I'll see you later. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just, because by then I think like if you're engaged in like a hour-long, 30 to an hour-long conversation with someone on the floor, I think by then like your energy might just get drained.
Absolutely.
You know? But yeah.
We got a lot of people coming to TwitchCon.
Yes. There's a lot of purple badges in here, and I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
Any other questions you guys have? 'Cause I feel like we're starting to like get a little bit cyclical with what we're saying, but I know that there's a lot more to talk about. So if any of you guys have any questions about something like we might not have elaborated on, just anything you guys are looking forward to at TwitchCon.
I definitely need to take a look at the panels. Like I haven't looked at that yet. Is there a list?
Yeah, there is. They have a schedule. There's not that many this year, at least not that many listed right now. Where's mine? Which panels am I going to? Where's the little thing that lets me filter by my favorites? It's in mobile view. No.
Oh, there's I didn't.
Oh, I'm not logged in. Dang.
They also have a lot of these community meetups as well, which can be really cool, especially if like your favorite streamer is doing a community meetup, or your favorite stream team or favorite game. Definitely show up to those, because sometimes you could meet some really great people there.
Definitely.
And people with similar interests.
Especially the ones that are just specific game related, you know? Because if you're going to meet a lot of other broadcasters in that directory, it can help you find people to, watch in your spare time, raid. Those kind of connections are very important. Possibly if you want to have somebody to squad with, it can be really nice. I've met a lot of... So I was streaming Pokemon since I started streaming. And like I went to TwitchCon year 1 in San Francisco, but I went by myself. I didn't like go with anybody. I didn't bring anyone with me. I didn't really meet with anybody. I just kind of hung out at the convention center. TwitchCon year 2, when it was in San Diego, I met with some other Pokemon streamers, and suddenly I just got pulled into this big friend group, and we were all like at a party later, just like playing Smash Bros. And like Cards Against Humanity. And I left that con knowing like 10 times the streamers in my directory that I knew going into it. And so these people, like, we know each other when we're in chat now. Meetups are definitely really helpful. And it's good to point out that, obviously not every meetup's going to be on the Twitch schedule. The Twitch one only has everything that's officially sanctioned by Twitch. But if you keep a track of like the hashtag, any other streamers that who are going to be there and play the same games, there might be unofficial meetups that are happening that you can take your time to go out and check out.
Definitely, like I need to actually look through that, because there's definitely some games that caught my interest. Nothing that I'm super invested in, but just notable games that are doing community meetups that I feel like a lot of people can find valuable. There's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to at TwitchCon. Just looking at the schedule now. The opening ceremony seems like it's going to be pretty cool. Actually very cool, because Dragon Force is going to be there.
I was gonna be like, was that announced yet? Yeah, it was.
Yes, definitely announced.
We knew about that for a bit.
Yes. Dragon Force is going to be doing a performance at the Glitch Theater for the opening ceremony. So if you guys want to see them play like some pretty awesome high-octane metal songs, they're definitely going to be there. So check them out. If you're not familiar with Dragon Force, but you are somehow familiar with like their song and Guitar Hero Through the Fire and Flames, definitely check it out, because their music is awesome. It'll just blow your eyeballs backwards.
Is there a way to get someone you're talking to at the con to meet up with you afterwards to continue talking without it being weird or sounding creepy? So you're talking like physical meetup, like in person, or just in general hanging out? Because, or like communicating. Because it depends on who you're talking to. Like I mentioned before, if it's like a company, like somebody from a booth or something that you got their work email for, you can just send a quick follow-up. Just be like, I really enjoyed talking with you. I'd love to discuss like working with your game in the future, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And things might bloom out of that. If you're talking about like another streamer that maybe you want to collaborate with, it's nice to just, hang out in their chat after the con and talk about, like, oh, it was great seeing you. Basically the same follow-up, but just in stream form if you're just hanging out at their chat, or if they have a Discord that you can hop into. Don't like, I definitely feel like it's not necessarily something you want to like try and force.
Yeah.
Like, don't...
kind of gauge it. Yeah, definitely gauge it.
It definitely is. Like, if you had a good time talking with this person and they enjoyed talking with you, it's worth it to just, enter their community and just hang out and build those connections. And it'll naturally occur if you guys are...
Yeah, it's something that just, like Marco said, it occurs naturally. I think it's definitely hard because I know a lot of streamers, and this happened to me, I think, at almost like every con. I've hung out with one of our clients or another streamer, and they end up like there's always this person that was like with them that followed them everywhere, and for a long time we went to dinner. I didn't realize that this person that was coming with us wasn't part of like his entourage or something like that, or like his like mods or anything. It was just like a random person that really likes them, like one of the like a viewer just followed them around everywhere, like inviting themselves to everything. That's one of the things that streamers worry about a lot. Obviously, I know you're not trying to do that, but it's mostly just like some of those folks that do that don't really get that cue where it's like, hey, like I'd love to meet up, like continue hanging out with you. Definitely gauge it. Marco said it happens naturally. It's very true. If you guys really enjoy talking to each other, then just maybe ask them like, hey, what are your plans after the con? Are you free at all? Do you want to go get lunch or a drink or something? It's not creepy at all to invite someone for a drink or food or something after you've had a good conversation with them. So
yeah, like
it's cool.
I went to the Pokemon World Championships a couple weeks ago, and I went and played Pokemon Go with a couple of Pokemon streamers, and then we had also just a viewer there with us, and we just hung out and played Pokemon Go for hours. Like, I was tagging along, it was fine. But if you're ever at a point where, a fan of yours has popped up and they're inviting themselves into, any get-together that you're having, like we said before, it is, if you need to excuse yourself from that kind of situation, don't be afraid to.
Yeah.
Because...
You should. You really should, because, like...
If either person in that interaction realizes it's unnatural, they should end it.
Yeah.
And if you're the only person who's realizing that it's unnatural, you gotta do the part.
You definitely do.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's like... You don't want the person to be there, because, like, they're not supposed to be there, you know? Like, it's almost like imagine if me and Marcos went to a meeting, right? We need to go to a bunch of meetings, but Marcos also streams, and he had his viewer just follow him to our meetings, like every meeting we went to. Like, Marcos wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, I'd be like,
he'd be like, we gotta go somewhere. We have to go somewhere without you. Yeah, we don't need you here.
I'll catch up with you. I'll catch up with you later. We got some stuff that we need to be doing. But
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be at this meetup if you want to go hang out there, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So it's important to not feel offended if that happens and you're the person that's being talked to, Yeah,
and don't, like, it's not really mean, but just don't be afraid to, hurt their feelings, because like sometimes they just they need to understand that they can't just follow you around to everything, There needs to be some space there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But again, flip side, don't worry, don't feel like hanging out with X streamer that you want to hang out with is going to be some big monumental, I can never talk to this person because they're so much bigger than me. They're just people. So ultimately, you got to treat them just like people. You have to treat them like people in the sense that you need to respect that they have their own space and places to be, and you know they can't be around somebody 24/7. But also treat them as people and realize that they're just a person behind a camera, and it's not actually that hard to go up and just say hi, I like your stuff, and just hang out in that case.
Yeah.
But there's a middle ground that you got to toe, and it can be towed pretty easily. Just be aware.
And I totally understand getting starstruck too, because I've been that way too. Like, there's always that one person that I've been like, yo, I've like watched you since I was a kid. Like, even before streaming was a thing. Like, you were like making content in the fighting game community or something like that. I've always been your fan. It's easy to get starstruck by these things, but you know what? Like, if you can kind of just overcome that initial shyness and just introduce yourself, you'll realize that they're just people, you know, like kind of like what Marco said, and they're just super chill and down to earth, you know, like really what's the worst that can happen?
Definitely. I also, it's something that doesn't happen to me as much anymore, but especially like my first few years going to like VidCon and TwitchCon, when I'm just like hanging out, like I just met somebody in line for a panel or something and we're just talking and they casually mentioned they have a channel and they got like so many thousand followers. Suddenly I'm like, oh my god, I should have known who this person is because they are clearly a big deal and everybody loves them. It's like, no, the internet's a huge place. This person could have 1 million, 2 million followers and you could have never heard of them. And that's fine.
Very
like
true.
They're not going to suddenly think less of you because you haven't heard about their channel simply because, you know, maybe it wasn't the same demographic or the internet's just a big place.
Yeah, there's
Like-
millions of people out there creating content, doing some awesome things on Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff. And probably never heard of them. But, you know, when you do hear of them, be like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Maybe I do like your stuff.
I definitely had a bunch of moments where I felt bad because I didn't know somebody, or suddenly felt bad, or suddenly felt like the fact that I was having a conversation with this person was, or like suddenly like the fact that I was having a conversation with this person was such a bigger deal because they had a big channel. And it's like, no. If the person you're chatting with randomly reveals they have a big channel, it doesn't change the fact that you've been having, you know, a nice casual conversation.
Very true. So we've talked a little bit about, or actually we talked a good amount about networking while you're at the convention. But I feel like we should dive a little bit further into what networking is like outside of the convention. So outside the convention, let's say it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 p.m. A lot of these companies start throwing parties. Sometimes they're available to the public. Sometimes they're pretty private and are invite only. At these times, these are also really great places to network with people. But you wouldn't do it the same way you would network while you're in the convention. So, or not completely, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone's done after working the convention for so long, a lot of times people at these parties are they just really want to wind down, hang out, maybe drink, maybe just socialize and talk with their friends. But you can definitely still meet people at these parties if you're kind of going about the right way. Oftentimes, like let's say if there's a big group, maybe it might not be the best time to go approach that huge group of people. Maybe it will be. You just kind of have to gauge what things are like going on, and you know, see if people are open to talking. Otherwise, I wouldn't. One thing I would avoid is I wouldn't really bother them right off the bat. Like I wouldn't hit someone with an elevator pitch at a party.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't jump right into business, but I would definitely like get to know people and like what they're doing there. Like let's say, I don't know, I just see someone, maybe they're wearing like a shirt for, I don't know, Rare Ltd. The guys who developed Sea of Thieves or something like that. And I'm like, oh, this guy looks like he works for Rare, and he's like just standing around by himself drinking. Why don't I go up to him and be like, hey, I like your shirt because I love Sea of Thieves. Do you work for Rare? What do you do? You know, just starting off those casual conversations. It's always a great thing to do.
Yeah. Like I said, like keeping things casual is very important. I want to meet the Rare guys. Yeah, made so many good games.
Serious Yo says, on the networking topic, you should always ask for a business card or something to contact them by so you have a way to connect later.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Especially if you had a good conversation with them while you're at the party. Mostly everyone has a card try not to forget your cards, because this definitely happens. Like, let's say you're getting all spruced up for a party and you have like your nice suit pants on, but you just forgot to bring your business card holder. Even if that does happen, try to find like, if you don't have your business card, try to find another way to link up. Shoot them your Twitter, like see if you can exchange Twitter accounts. Be like, hey, mind if I add you? And then once you add them, and then shortly after, it's probably a really nice way to just, not shortly after, but a little bit after the con, it should be totally fine to just do like a quick follow-up. Send either an email if you have their email, or a Twitter DM if you're only able to grab their Twitter. And be like, hey, it was nice meeting you at the convention, blah, blah. Hope you've been well, blah, blah, blah. And then end it at that. And then if you have a next step from your meeting with them, like if you talked to them about potential business stuff, then follow up about, talk about that next step and mention it in the email. Otherwise, just kind of keep it brief.
Absolutely. And like I mentioned before, I think it's a good idea to make sure that the card trade-off happens at the end of your conversation, usually. I know there was some talk on like Twitter and stuff about like, do you even need business cards? I just trade socials with people. Like, I don't use business cards, or I don't think they're as worth it. And I definitely think business cards are worth it. I agree, you shouldn't be just giving them out like flyers. But it's helpful because if you are just having a casual conversation with somebody and suddenly they need to go somewhere or you need to go somewhere, you can just hand them a card, and then that's the end of the conversation, as opposed to taking your phone out and like typing in each other's handles and stuff. It gets a little bit more convoluted there when you just have a piece of paper you can give them. It makes things really simple.
Yeah. Nick at Night says business cards end up in the trash so quickly. If you're serious, send the email right then and there. So the way I like to think about it is, if you really want to avoid getting your business cards to end up in the trash, try not to just hand them out, and only like kind of like Marco said, only hand them out if like there's a reason for you to hand them out. Like if they're asking for your business card, they probably really want to contact you afterwards. In that case, I highly doubt that your business card is going to end up in the trash. If it does, if they lose it, it's probably on accident. I wouldn't follow up. I wouldn't send the email right then and there, mainly because they'll be at the con. They're probably not going to be checking their emails. And by the time they get back from the convention, their inbox is just going to be flooded with emails. And then your email most likely is going to get buried.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely wait after the convention, maybe a week after the convention, once they've had time to recover. I think a week after is probably enough time. So like, let's say you met them on Saturday of the convention. I would not follow up the next Monday, but maybe the Monday after that. Or maybe even like the next Friday after that. Yeah.
I also feel like when you're giving somebody a business card, so like I said, like there is a lot of talk about how effective are business cards. I wouldn't go into it with like the expectation they're just gonna toss it away, like when it comes to meeting other streamers, I usually hold on to all of the cards of the streamers that I've done, and yeah, eventually I'm gonna throw those away, but not before I make sure that I've followed all of them, because I hung out with them at the con and they were really cool people, and I just want to have like them on my follow list.
Yeah.
So
I've definitely seen business cards on the floor of parties just getting trampled on, and you don't want to see your business card end up like that. So don't be super generous with your business cards, just use them when you need to and present them when they're asked for.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is just be like, hey, nice to meet you, here's a card. Hey, nice to meet you, here's a card. And I've seen this happen, and it's a huge mistake, because the first thing people will do is they'll look at the card, be like, who the hell is this, and why they just give me a card? They're gonna probably throw it in the trash, or even worse, drop it, and then people are just gonna see your business card with a bunch of shoe marks on it, and it sucks. It's not a great feeling.
It's like symbolic or something.
Yeah, don't let that happen to you. Don't let that happen to you.
Number one fan.
Another thing, do not get super drunk at parties, because I think it's okay to drink at parties, and because everyone's there to have a good time. Just don't let it go too overboard to the point where you might potentially embarrass yourself. I think I can't say that I haven't made this mistake before, because I feel like at some point I've gotten too drunk, and I was like, damn, I really regretted everything I did, but thankfully I had some peace of mind and didn't let myself go too much. So yeah, if you plan on drinking,
People will remember
if you
me.
plan on drinking, don't go too overboard with it, because you don't want to hurt your reputation, and you don't want to do anything that you didn't want to do because you were under the influence. So drink responsibly, my friends.
Absolutely. Or your company's rep.
Or
yeah.
your company's rep.
Don't want to screw up
Or
your
your
company's
company's
rep.
rep.
That's my like. I don't drink, so it's good for me. I just kind of hang out there.
Yeah.
So, can I get mad drunk?
Yeah, dude, turn up.
You can
just drink all the alcohol.
You can do whatever you want. Just be prepared for the consequences. I feel like this also is worth mentioning. A couple of TwitchCons ago, I know shortly after they introduced the IRL category, there were a lot of stories about people IRL streaming at like parties and stuff and making it kind of awkward.
Don't do that.
There was a story relatively recently about a bigger streamer and a place he was IRL streaming he shouldn't have been. Like, be sure if you're going to be like IRL streaming, do be aware of the people around you, especially like we said, we're talking about parties, how it's after the con and a lot of people are winding down. If you're there and you're streaming and you're like you're in broadcaster mode, like the other people around you might not be in the mood to be in that mindset. You know, they're there to wind down, and then the fact that they're on the internet suddenly probably isn't like what they're there at that party for.
I would feel super uncomfortable. Like I would just like I've seen this happen. Like even when people are like streaming at like the con, like the second they're like they start like walking towards me, and like I see a camera pointing at me. Even then, and that's at the con, which is like, and that's totally fine. I feel like people stream conventions all the time. But if I'm in front of a camera, I already feel uncomfortable. If that happens in a place where I'm supposed to feel comfortable, I'm just gonna be like I'm gonna be pretty upset. I'm just gonna be like, dude, please don't record me. Like, or I'm just gonna walk away, cause like, and feel like disrespected, you know?
So.
Yeah. Don't IRL stream. Yeah. Also, another thing to take into consideration if you're drinking at a party, and this doesn't just apply to alcohol, this applies to every drink. Watch your drink and or make sure that you have a friend that you can trust take care of your drink when you're away from it. I mean, number one, I would just make sure that you don't ever leave your drink, but if you really have to, have a friend that you really trust watch it for you. I say this because I almost got roofied. I almost got roofied at a convention party, and that did not feel great. I immediately just got rid of my cup, and I was like, nope, not drinking this. And the guy did it right in front of me, too, which is great. And yeah, that's bad. This happens. So watch your drink. Don't let it happen to you. Be responsible. It's a scary place out there. Jeremy is apologizing for almost roofing me. It's okay, Jeremy. I forgive you.
I think it's just paranoia, but I know more than one person who's been roofied at these parties. That's not good. I got roofied back in 2017. Friend noticed and brought me back. Okay.
Yeah. It is not paranoia. It is really not paranoia. And you know, like, it can happen to literally everyone. Like it's like you can be like you don't have to be like a famous person. You don't have to be someone people like. You don't have to know the person. There's literally just people out there that's willing to see an opportunity. If they see an opportunity to roofie someone, they probably will, because they're just that crazy person, you know. So just watch out. It's not paranoia. It's like a legit warning.
Just be aware. Don't let it like scare you out of going to parties.
Exactly.
But just be aware.
Yeah. Be aware of your surroundings. Which kind of points back to like, don't get super drunk, right? Because if you're super drunk, then you probably are just gonna be like,
you're just more susceptible to stuff.
And then someone's gonna be like, boop, and then rip.
I mean, he's recording you right now. Oh no. Dang it! I was here to unwind.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I think we covered a lot today, and I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. Does anybody have any final questions? Anything
We'll
you want to
give you
share
guys
with the
five-
class
we'll
about
give you guys
your
a couple
TwitchCon
minutes, but we'll talk about
experiences?
some stuff. What else are you excited for, Marcos?
Just TwitchCon?
Yes, or
Yeah.
in general, like TwitchCon, after TwitchCon, anything you're excited for in particular?
I just got a whole bunch of friends from out of town that I'm gonna be able to see again for the first time in like ages. So just in general, that'll be awesome. I think I'm going. There's like a panel about engaging your community with Magic and Dungeons and Dragons, and I've been doing that a lot recently. So I want to go to that panel. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
I don't know, man. That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
10.
10 wood.
10 wood.
You could make like 2 workbenches out of that.
Can you?
2.5
A
workbenches.
crafting table?
Yeah, crafting table.
Crafting table. You'll probably have enough wood left over to maybe
I
put
think-
like, I don't know, like a table.
I think the
a
other
table, too.
reason that I'm excited for TwitchCon is that like consistently every year after TwitchCon, I get a lot more like revitalized into streaming. Like I'm keeping with the schedule and stuff, but I definitely I always feel a lot more into it after having gone to TwitchCon and been in that atmosphere. Like it does a lot to just recharge me.
Yeah, no, I totally get that too. Just because like there's so much, like it's just a giant community, you know, just all coming together, and like it's a really fun time, and I get to see a lot of clients that I really miss. You know, I get on Thursday I get to go to Alaskan Savage's wedding.
It's gonna be the first time I meet any of my clients in person, so that's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see everybody again and reconnect and just hang out, because it only happens like how many times a year, and sometimes it doesn't happen at all in a year. You know, like sometimes folks just get super busy with their personal lives, so they might not be able to make it to the convention, and maybe maybe they're able to make it to this one, but they won't make it to the next 5 conventions. It happens, you know. So I really do treasure every moment that I get to connect with these people, because it's great, everyone's community, and
Yeah.
Cool. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions except for Barry's ridiculous woodchuck question.
I possibly get to see some OPG employees in real life. OPG UK is looking forward to meet up with the new OPG US staff. Super hype.
That means you.
Yeah,
That means you.
it's me and Sarah.
All right,
And-
guys. Well, I think we're going to cut it here.
Yeah.
So thank you again for coming to office hours. My name is Zach.
I am Marcos. We aren't gonna be here next week. I think. I feel like there's something that we're gonna be doing instead, but I forget.
It's TwitchCon.
I forget.
It's TwitchCon.
Oh yeah,
It's
that
TwitchCon.
thing.
Yes. We're definitely
So-
going to TwitchCon next Friday, so no more office hours next Friday. So yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys got some sort of valuable information from both of us. Hopefully we can see you folks there.
Yeah.
If you
All
ever,
these 19 badges.
yeah. So definitely say hi.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you're going to TwitchCon, have a great TwitchCon. If not, have an awesome weekend.
Don't put Zach on camera.
Don't put me on camera. Please don't. Just don't zoom in to all my features. Just go away.
Yeah. Adri, get Zach off camera.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.